All right, let's uncork some excitement today. We're diving deep into Italian wine. You don't need to be a pro, though.
Nope. We'll break it down easy, region by region and grape.
Our roadmap for this delicious adventure. We're going north to south, really getting into what each region is all about. Imagine you're cruising through Italy, top down, a glass of something amazing in your hand.
And you didn't even have to pack a suitcase. We'll do all the hard work, find those hidden gems, and share the stories behind each wine.
Perfect. Let's start in the northwest with Piemonte. This region is like all about those big, bold reds, right?
You're talking about Nebbiolo, the grape behind those legendary Barolo and Barbaresco wines. They're like the kings of Italian wine, powerful, complex, and they can age forever.
Wow, the heavyweights. What makes Piemonte so special for Nebbiolo, though? The soil,
Yeah.
climate.
It's a bunch of things, really. Picture rolling hills, the Alps off in the distance, crisp mountain air. Piemonte has this unique terroir that's just perfect for Nebbiolo. The soil is mostly clay and limestone, and the climate is continental, warm summers, cold winters.
So those grapes had a long time to develop those complex flavors.
Exactly. And don't forget the food. Piemonte is known for its hearty cuisine, rich stews, truffle dishes, creamy risotto. They're practically made for Barolo and Barbaresco.
Oh man, now I'm hungry. Okay, let's get to some specific wineries. First up, Mirafiore. Get this. It was a love gift from a king to his mistress, King Vittorio Emanuele II, the first king of a unified Italy.
A story as rich as the wines themselves. Right in the heart of Barolo country, this estate was making waves over a century ago. They were shipping their Barolo all the way to Argentina.
A century ago. That's wild. Makes you wonder what those wines tasted like back then. This king, he definitely had expensive taste. Does that royal connection still mean anything today?
Absolutely. It shows you how prestigious Barolo was, even back then. And today, Mirafiore keeps that going. They make elegant, approachable Barolos that you can enjoy now, but they'll age beautifully too.
Wow, history in a bottle. Got to remember that one. Next, we have Cuvage, and they're all about the sparkling wines.
Yeah, Cuvage celebrates the unique terroir of Piemonte through its sparkling wines. They focus on native grapes like Nebbiolo and Cortese, producing a whole range of styles from dry to sweet.
So they're not afraid to get a little experimental. I see they have something called Cuvage des Artistes. What's that about?
It's a cool concept. They have a space to showcase visual art along with their wines. They've even partnered with artists to make limited edition bottles.
Wait, like art on the bottle? That's amazing.
It is. It's like enjoying wine is an art in itself. It just adds this whole other layer to the experience. You know, you're not just tasting it, you're engaging with it visually and emotionally.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, now for something totally different. Fontana Bianca. They're actually in a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Talk about a view.
You're talking about the village of Nave, one of the most beautiful in Italy. Fontana Bianca is family-owned, and they've been making wine there since 1969.
And they're known for those classic Nebbiolo grapes, right? Making Barolo and Barbaresco wines.
Yes, but what sets them apart is how they highlight the elegance and classic character of Barbaresco. Their vineyards are about 300 meters above sea level on soil rich in clay and limestone, and they own a majority stake in the Bordini Cru, one of the top vineyards in Barbaresco.
So they're working with top-notch grapes. I'm curious, though, what does cru even mean?
Good question. Think of a cru as a specific, really well-regarded vineyard or group of vineyards. They're known for exceptional wines, like the Grand Cru vineyards in Burgundy, France. If
Yeah.
you see cru on a label, you're getting something special.
Good to know. Okay, next we have Sirocco. They're all about meticulous work, both in the vineyard and in the winery, and they're right in the heart of Moscato d'Asti country.
Ah, Moscato d'Asti. Perfect for those who like something lighter and sweeter. It's known for those delicate floral aromas and its refreshing acidity.
So like the opposite of those big Barolos we were talking about.
Exactly. And Sirocco is a Moscato master. They're passionate about showcasing all the different sides of the Moscato grape. They cultivate 15 different crusts, each one with a unique soil, altitude, and sun exposure.
15 different crusts just for one grape. That's commitment.
And you can taste it.
Yeah.
Their Moscato d'Asti is complex, balanced, and really reflects where it's from.
Putting that on my list. Last but not least, in Piemonte, we have Villa Sparina. This one's interesting. It's a resort with a hotel and a gourmet restaurant.
Yeah, Villa Sparina is a whole experience. The Macagata family has owned it since the 1970s. They're located in Gavi in southern Piemonte.
And Gavi is all about the Cortese grape, right? That makes a crisp, dry white wine.
You got it. Perfect for warm weather, with those refreshing notes of citrus, green apple, and a touch of minerality. And Villa Sparina's Gavi del Comune di Gavi comes from a limited production area, so you know it's something special.
Limited edition. Always a good sign. And their bottle shape is unique too, inspired by an ancient bottle they found during renovations.
Such a cool touch. It's like you're getting a piece of history with the wine.
All right, so we've covered 5 great wineries in Piemonte, each with its own story and style. But our Italian adventure doesn't end there. Where to next?
Let's head east to Lombardy. Amazing landscapes and tons of diversity when it comes to both wine and food.
From the Alps to the Po River Valley, Lombardy sounds delicious.
And it's home to one of the most iconic wineries in all of Italy, Grape Varieties. They've been leading the way in Lugano production for generations.
Before we jump into that, though, let's set the scene for Lombardy. What are the key grapes and wines we should look out for?
Well, you have Pinot Noir and Chardonnay making some fantastic sparkling wines, and Oltipo Pavese and Franciacorta. Think of it like Italy's answer to champagne.
Ooh, Italian bubbly. Now you're talking.
And the food. Fresh fish from the Lake District, incredible beef from the Po River Valley. It's a food lover's paradise.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So tell me about Cade Frati. What makes them stand out?
Well, they were founded back in 1939 when Felice Dalcero settled in Sirmione, on the Lombardy side of the Lugana appellation. It's been a family thing for 3 generations now, and they're considered a top Lugana producer.
Family owned. I love that. It sounds like they really care about what they do.
Absolutely. And their estate is huge, a big chunk of the DOC Lugana area, 200 hectares.
Wow, that's a lot of vines. And they're in a pretty special spot, right? On those hills formed by glaciers near Lake Garda.
Exactly. And the soil is a unique mix of limestone, clay, and sand. Plus, you've got the Pell Air wind blowing in from Lake Garda. It all creates the perfect environment for those Lugana grapes.
Creating those wines with the crisp minerality and balanced acidity. It's like everything works perfectly together.
It really does. And you can taste it in their wines. Their Frati Lugana DOC, the Berlatino Lugana DOC, even their Pietro del Cero Amarone della Valpolicella DRCG. Each one tells a story of passion and connection to the Lombardy terroir.
Okay, I'm ready to trade in my car for a gondola and explore those vineyards. But before we do, we have one more stop in northern Italy, right?
Yep, we're going to Trentino Alto Adige, northeast Italy, known for its beautiful scenery, aromatic white wines, and that blend of Italian and Austrian influence.
Mountain views and great wine. I'm in. What kind of wine should we expect?
Trentino Alto Adige is known for crisp, aromatic white wines. Think Miller-Thurgau, Pinot Grigio, and Gewürztraminer. But they make some really interesting reds, too. Pinot Noir, Turaldego, Lagreen, and Cabernet.
Okay, so a good mix of familiar and maybe less familiar grapes. What about the food in Trentino Alto Adige? What's on the menu?
Get ready for a mix of Italian and Austrian traditions. Knedderli, Spätzle, cured veal with sauerkraut, apple strudel. It's comfort food with an alpine twist.
That sounds delicious. And the vineyards themselves are pretty special, right? They're often terraced, clinging to those steep mountainsides.
Absolutely. Some of those vineyards are as high as 1,190 meters above sea level.
Wow, high altitude viticulture.
What?
But I guess with all that sunshine and the warm winds from Lake Garda, those grapes have it pretty good.
You got it. And the winery we're featuring is Cantina Lovis, a historic cooperative founded way back in 1850 by the Sunburn family.
A cooperative, interesting. So it's a bunch of growers working together to produce the wine.
Exactly. Cantina Lovis has over 800 growers, working over 800 hectares of vineyards. And those vineyards are planted on super mineral-rich soil, full of sandstone and dolomite rocks.
So we're talking about wines with a lot of character, reflecting that unique terroir. But they're not just about tradition, right? I hear they're pretty innovative when it comes to sustainability.
You're right. They have this project called Quality and Zoning, focusing on putting the right vine in the right spot for the highest quality grapes. And they're open to both traditional and international grapes.
So they're respecting tradition while still pushing the boundaries a little. Love it.
And their wines really show that. They're crisp, refreshing Pinot Grigio Trentino DOC. They're bold Cabernet Trentino DOC. Cantina Lovis gives you a taste of Trentino Alto Adige that's both authentic and easy to enjoy.
3 incredible regions down in northern Italy, and I'm ready to head south. Where are we going next?
Next stop, Veneto, the land of Amarone della Valpolicella, and of course, the ever-popular Prosecco.
Ooh, Prosecco. Feels like a good time for a toast. Veneto is a pretty big region, right? What are the key things we need to know?
One of the largest wine-producing areas in Italy, tons of history. They have a crazy number of DOCs and DOCGs, basically quality labels that guarantee where the wine is from and how it's made.
Sounds like a region that takes their wine very seriously. What about the grapes? What are the stars in Veneto?
For reds, you have Corvina, Rondinella, and Molinara. Those are used to make Valpolicella blends, including the legendary Amarone. For whites, there's Glera, the Prosecco grape, and Garganega, which is used to make Soave.
So many grapes, so little time. And what about the food in Veneto?
Get ready for some hearty, rustic food. Veneto is all about meat duck, beef stews, even horse meat. They have bigoli, a flour and water pasta, and of course you can't forget bacala, salted codfish, often served with polenta.
Big, bold flavors to go with those big, bold wines. I'm ready.
In Veneto, we're focusing on two key areas. Valpolicella, near Verona, which is where Amarone was born, and the Conegliano and Valdobbiadene region, with those beautiful hillside vineyards that give us Prosecco.
Two very different wines, but both delicious. I've heard that when you see Classico on a Valpolicella label, it means something special. What's the story there?
Classico tells you that the grapes are from the oldest, most traditional part of the Valpolicella region. It's like the heart of Valpolicella.
So it's a sign of authenticity. I'll be looking for that. Okay, first up in Veneto, we have Roberto Anselmi. I hear he was a real innovator. What did he do that was so groundbreaking?
Well, Roberto Anselmi bought his first vineyard in 1976, and he completely changed the Soave Classico appellation. He got rid of the traditional pergola system, that's how the vines are trained, and switched to Guillot and permanent cordon.
So he went his own way, tried something new. I like his style. And he was one of the first to introduce the idea of cru wines to the region too, right?
Exactly. A real maverick, pushing the boundaries of Sauva Classico. His vineyards are on volcanic and limestone soils, which give his wines that freshness and minerality. They're planted with Garganega, Sauvignon Blanc, and Chardonnay.
So he's got the terroir, the innovation, and the passion. I heard a great story about him. Apparently, he wrote a letter to the Soave Consortium saying he was quitting because he thought they were too bureaucratic and stuck in the past.
It's a legendary story. He was a pioneer, doing his own thing and sticking to his beliefs. And you can see that in his wines. They're complex, elegant, and truly express the terroir.
Here's to Roberto Anselmi. Okay, now onto a winery with a name that makes you smile. La Joyosa, the Joyous.
A fitting name, considering the Treviso province, where their wines are made, was known for being joyous, all thanks to its lush farmland and prosperity.
So we're talking about a region that's all about good vibes. And La Joyosa is a leading Prosecco producer, right?
One of the top 5 in the world. And they're all about sustainability, using alternative energy sources, and being certified biodiversity friend.
Wait, biodiversity friend, what does that even mean?
They follow specific guidelines to encourage insects and animal life in the vineyards, creating a healthy ecosystem, which ultimately leads to better grapes and better wine.
That's great. It's like they're saying, let's all work together, bugs, birds, and winemakers.
And their portfolio is impressive. They have everything from the Prosecco Locale DOC to the Prosecco DOC Treviso Brut, the Valdobbiadene Prosecco Superiore DOCG, and even a Prosecco Rosé Millesimato DOC.
Wow, something for every Prosecco lover out there. Yeah. They even have an alcohol-free option, the Italian sparkling alcohol-free berry fizz.
Exactly, something for everyone.
Now on to La Comtesse, a family estate run by the Bonato family since the early 1970s. They're right in the heart of the Prosecco DOC area.
And their vineyards are perfectly placed. They get a moderate warm climate influenced by both the Alpine Dolomites and the Adriatic Sea.
So they're getting mountain air and sea breezes. But what's really interesting about La Comtesse is how they make their sparkling wines. They use a single fermentation process.
Right. Most Proseccos use the Charmat method, where there's a second fermentation in a big tank. But La Comtesse ferments the must, the fresh grape juice, straight into sparkling wine.
So it's more traditional. Does that change the flavor?
Absolutely. It gives their wines more freshness, you get a stronger sense of the terroir, and fewer sulfites.
So it's pure, clean, and expresses its origin. Sounds delicious.
Oh, it is. For our final stop in Veneto, we're going to the Valpolicella Classico region, to a winery called Nicholas. They've been making wine for 3 generations and are known for using all 4 traditional Valpolicella grapes.
Remind me, what are those 4 grapes again?
Corvina, Rondinella, Molinara, and the rarest one, Croatina.
And Nicholas is one of the few wineries that still uses all 4. Now that's sticking to tradition.
It is. Their vineyards are in a prime spot with those stony, morenic, and calcareous soils. And the climate in Valpolicella is perfect for growing grapes, southern exposure, and protected by the Lacini Mountains.
Sounds like those grapes are living the good life. And they make the famous Amarone wine, right?
They do, and it's exceptional. Remember, Amarone is made using a passimento, where they dry the grapes for up to 3 months after picking them.
It's like making raisins, but with grapes.
Exactly. And drying them concentrates the sugars, glycerin, and all those aromas. That's how you get those intense, complex wines.
Rich, concentrated, powerful. No wonder Amarone is so well regarded.
It's truly unique, and Nicholas has mastered the style. Their vibrant Valpolicella Classico, their powerful Amarone, you really get a taste of the region's soul.
Okay, 4 fantastic wineries down in Veneto.
Yeah.
But our Italian wine adventure isn't over yet.
Now we're headed to Emilia-Romagna, known for its incredible food and, of course, those famous Lambrusco wines.
Lambrusco, the bubbly red.
Yeah.
I always wanted to learn more about that one. And Emilia-Romagna is like a foodie heaven, right? Home of Parmigiano Reggiano Prosciutto di Parma.
Now you're speaking my language. It's a region where food and wine are a perfect match.
Okay, I'm officially hungry and thirsty.
Well, Emilia-Romagna is a bit of a hidden gem when it comes to Italian wine. Lambrusco might be the star, but there's a lot more to discover.
I'm ready. Tell me everything. What else should we look for in Emilia-Romagna?
They make great Sangiovese wines, too, with their own DOCG Sangiovese di Romagna. And for white wine fans, there's Pignoletto and Albana, both native grapes with unique flavors and aromas.
So it's a region with a diverse range of wines. But let's talk more about Lambrusco. I feel like it gets a bad rap sometimes.
I know, right? Lambrusco has been misunderstood, but a good Lambrusco is delicious and versatile. It has that lively sparkle, refreshing acidity, and it comes in all sorts of styles, from dry to sweet.
So it's not just that sweet, fizzy stuff you sometimes find in the supermarket.
Definitely not. And Emilia-Romagna has a long history of winemaking. You know, the Greeks were actually the first to bring vines to this area.
Wow, that's going way back. I read that the wine traders in Emilia-Romagna were so successful that people compared them to bankers and notaries. Pretty impressive.
It just goes to show you how important wine has always been to the region.
I'm ready to experience this Lambrusco revival.
Yeah.
Where do we start our Emilia-Romagna adventure?
Our first stop is Poderi del Nespoli. Their family has been making wine since 1929. They're located in the Bidente Valley, which is one of the most important wine areas in Romagna, especially for Sangiovese.
The Bidente Valley. Sounds beautiful. What makes it so special for growing grapes?
It's this unique passage connecting the Apennines to the Adriatic coast. You get these hot and cold air currents, which makes the grapes develop more complex aromas and polyphenols.
So those grapes are getting quite a workout. And before they made wine, the Ravioli family ran an osteria in the valley, right?
Right. It was a small family restaurant, but their Sangiovese got so popular that they decided to make wine on a larger scale. Talk about following your passion.
Love it. From humble beginnings to winemaking superstars. And today, Poderi del Nespoli has something like 180 hectares of vineyards, focusing on both red and white grapes.
And they use modern technology while still staying true to quality. Solar panels, water recycling, a heat recovery system, they're all about sustainability.
They're definitely walking the walk when it comes to being environmentally responsible. And they have quite the range of wines, don't they?
Yeah.
Sparkling wines, those rich Sangioveses, even grappa.
Yep. Something for everyone. You can taste their dedication to quality in every bottle. They're known for being balanced, complex, and really showcasing that Bidente Valley terroir.
Okay, adding them to the list. Time for some Lambrusco. We're going to Villa di Corlo, where they make both Lambrusco and traditional balsamic vinegar. What a combination.
And they're located near Modena, the foodie capital of Italy. Makes sense, right?
Modena, home of Ferrari and balsamic vinegar. I'm sensing a theme here.
Speed and flavor. Villa di Corlo is serious about Lambrusco. They work mostly with Grasparosa grapes, which make a really rich, vibrant Lambrusco.
So we're talking about a Lambrusco with some depth, not just simple and sweet.
Exactly. They even own the Cru Corletto, a single vineyard that produces a really special Lambrusco, smooth, vibrant, and packed with black fruit flavors.
Okay, color me intrigued. And they're big on sustainability, too. They've got solar panels on the winery roof, always a good sign.
It's great to see wineries taking steps to be environmentally friendly. Villa di Corlo is a perfect example of how to combine tradition and innovation to make delicious and sustainable wines.
All right, Emilia-Romagna is definitely on my radar now. We've covered quite a bit of northern Italy. Anything standing out to you so far? Any regions or wines you're particularly excited about?
That's a tough one. For me, it's a close call between the powerful Barolos of Piemonte and those crisp, elegant Sauves from Veneto. But honestly, I'm loving this whole journey. It's like we're putting together a puzzle, one region and one grape at a time, to really understand Italian wine.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And we're only halfway through our adventure. Where are we going next?
Next, we're heading south to Tuscany, a region that needs no introduction. Think rolling hills, cypress trees, and of course, Sangiovese, the king of Tuscan grapes.
Tuscany. It's like stepping into a postcard. I've always been curious about Sangiovese. What's so special about this grape?
A Sangiovese is the heart and soul of Tuscan wine. It's a noble grape, tons of history, and it can make a huge variety of wines, from lively Chianti to powerful Brunello di Montalcino.
A grape with range. And Tuscany has some pretty iconic wine regions, right?
Absolutely. There's Chianti, of course, that beautiful area between Florence and Siena, all those rolling hills and world-class wines. Then you have Montalcino, where the famous Brunello di Montalcino comes from, and Bulgari, home of those iconic Super Tuscans.
So many legendary names. But wait, let's go back a sec. What exactly are Super Tuscans? I've heard the term, but I'm not totally sure what it means.
Good question. Super Tuscans basically break the traditional rules of Tuscan winemaking. They often use international grapes like Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot by themselves or blended with Sangiovese. They're known for being bold, innovative, and they age beautifully.
Ah, so they're like the rebels of the Tuscan wine scene. I like it. Speaking of rebels, I read something interesting about Rosso di Montalcino. It's like a baby Brunello, right?
That's a great way to put it. Rosso di Montalcino uses the same grapes as Brunello di Montalcino, the Brunello clone of Sangiovese, but it often comes from younger vines and doesn't need to age as long.
Like a younger, friendlier sibling.
Exactly. It still has that Sangiovese character cherry, plum, earthy notes, but it's lighter and fruitier, ready to drink sooner.
I'll have to try that one. All right, let's talk about some wineries. First up, Bronchaia, a family estate making waves in Tuscany since the 1980s.
Brentaya is a great example of how passion and hard work can turn a hobby into a world-class winery. They have vineyards in both Chianti Classico and Maremma, and they're known for being organic and having super high standards.
Organic viticulture, that's awesome. So they're all about respecting the land and the environment. And their winemaker, Barbara Widmer, she sounds amazing.
She's incredibly talented, and she's dedicated to crafting wines that truly express the terroir. They use wild yeasts for fermentation. They really let the grapes do their thing.
Love that, just letting nature run its course. And I have to say, their label is pretty cool, modern, and elegant.
It perfectly reflects their approach to winemaking classic modernists with total respect for the terroir.
Okay, Brincia is going on my list of places to visit. Now we're heading back to the heart of Chianti Classico, to an estate that's been making wine since the 15th century, Cafaggio.
That's some serious history, and they're located in a special area called the Conca d'Oro, which means the Golden Valley.
The Golden Valley, the name just sounds magical. What makes it so special for grapes?
Well, it's this beautiful valley facing south, perfect altitude, and the soil is rich in minerals. It's basically a Sangiovese paradise. All the producers in the Conca d'Oro are organic. They really respect the land.
It seems like respect for tradition and a connection to the land are really important in Tuscany.
You got it. And Cafaggio is also known for its innovations. They were actually the first Classico winery to produce Chianti with 100% Sangiovese grapes.
Wow, so they were pioneers in showcasing the pure potential of Sangiovese.
Exactly. They also have 4 crus called the Basilicas, planted with Sangiovese, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Merlot.
So they like to experiment a little, blending those international varieties with the local Sangiovese. And one of their crus, Basilica San Martino, is named after an old church. What a cool connection to the region's history.
It's those details that make Tuscan wines so special. They're more than just drinks, they're stories in a bottle, reflecting the history, culture, and landscape.
I love that. All right, on to our next winery, Fontella. And they're all about those classic Chianti traditions, right?
Exactly. Fontella focuses on authentic Chianti using a traditional blend of Sangioveses and Canaiolo grapes.
Keeping it classic. And their wines are known for being high quality and affordable, perfect for everyday drinking.
Exactly. They're approachable, delicious, and a great way to get into Chianti.
Awesome. Fontella's going on my shopping list. Now we're off to the hills of Montalcino, to a winery with a view Poggio Antico.
Talk about breathtaking scenery. Poggio Antico is surrounded by rolling hills, olive groves, and vineyards. It's a true Tuscan dream.
They've been making Brunello di Montalcino since 1976, right?
That's right, and they've become one of the top producers in the area. Their vineyards are at an altitude of around 480 meters, with southern exposure and a dry Mediterranean climate.
So they're getting plenty of sun and those nice Mediterranean breezes, and they're working on becoming organically certified, right?
Yep, they're all about sustainable practices. It's great to see so many wineries in Tuscany going organic and sustainable. It shows how much they respect the land and want to preserve it for future generations.
Absolutely. And Poggio Antico is a boutique winery. They keep their yields low, and pay attention to every little detail. They even age their wines in the bottle longer than they're required to.
It's that extra effort that makes their wines so special. They're known for being rich, flavorful, and incredibly balanced. Wines that are meant to be savored and aged.
Okay, now I'm starting to understand why Brunello di Montalcino is so prized.
Ah!
All right, our final stop in Tuscany takes us to another great estate in Montalcino, Ridolfi.
Ridolfi sits on a hillside right near the famous Brunello Road. All of their vineyards face the northeast slope of the Montalcino Hill. They have 19 hectares of vines planted around 300 meters above sea level, all on clay soil.
Clay soil. Interesting. How does that affect the wines?
Clay soil is known for giving wines elegance, concentration, and the ability to age well. It's dense and holds moisture, which is important in Montalcino, which can get pretty dry in the summer.
So it helps keep those grapes happy and hydrated. And Ridolfi is all about respecting the land. They use cover crops and natural pest control.
They're meticulous about every step, from growing grapes to making wine. They even thin out the grapes 3 times during the growing season to make sure only the best ones make it into the wine.
Wow, they really go the extra mile. They use high-tech methods, too, like an optical sorting machine to pick the perfect grapes. But they also haven't forgotten those traditional techniques, right?
Exactly. They practice integral vinification, which means the whole berries are soaked, fermented, and aged in the same barrel. They also use a special batonnage technique, rotating the barrels multiple times a day during maceration.
Blending the best of both worlds' modern technology and time-honored techniques. And I love the historical connection. The ancestor of the Ridolfi family was the first person to sing the praises of Montalcino wines back in 1831.
Isn't that amazing? Montalcino has been known for its incredible wines for that long. It shows you the legacy of this region.
We've explored 6 amazing wineries in Tuscany, each with its own unique story, philosophy, and way of making wine. But our Italian wine adventure isn't over yet.
Now we're heading south to the heel of Italy's boot, Puglia.
Puglia. I always think of sunshine, beaches, and olive trees. But what about the wines? What can we expect?
Puglia is known for bold, powerful wines, full of sunshine and Mediterranean character. They're traditionally known for their reds, but more and more producers are making great whites too.
Wines with personality. And Puglia is a pretty diverse region, isn't it?
Absolutely. The Adriatic Sea is on one side, the Ionian Sea on the other, and that creates a unique microclimate that's perfect for vines. The landscape is diverse too. You have rolling hills and flat coastal plains.
The best of both worlds for those grapes, sea breezes, and plenty of sunshine. And I hear the soil's pretty special too.
You're right. Mostly limestone-rich soil, which gives the wines a distinct mineral quality and structure. And the long growing season means the grapes develop intense fruit flavors and ripe tannins.
So we're talking depth, complexity, and a sense of place. And the food in Puglia is fantastic, right?
Oh, yeah. Fresh seafood, amazing olive oil, and so many fresh vegetables. The Mediterranean diet at its best.
All right, I'm sold. Bring on the Pugliese feast. And the winery we're featuring for this region is Vespa, a small boutique winery that really captures the essence of this sunny region.
Vespa is all about quality and showcasing the unique terroir of Manduria, considered the heartland of the Primitivo grape.
Primitivo, I've heard of that one. What kind of wine does it make?
Primitivo is one of Puglia's signature grapes. It's known for making rich, fruity, full-bodied wines.
Okay, so we're talking about bold reds, perfect to pair with those hearty Pugliese dishes.
Exactly. And Vespa's vineyards are in a great spot. They get the benefits of those unique iron-rich red soils in Manduria and the influence of the Ionian Sea.
So they get those rich, earthy flavors from the soil and that refreshing touch from the sea.
They work with the mix of traditional grapes, Primitivo, Negromarl, Aleatico, and Uva di Troia, all grapes that love the warm, sunny climate of Puglia.
So they're really showing off all the different grapes Puglia has to offer. And I heard they have a secret weapon, the famous winemaker Riccardo Cottarella.
That's right. They call him Il Mago, the wizard. Because he's so talented, he's brought a real elegance to Vespa's wines.
Love it. It's like they've taken the rustic charm of Puglia and added a little winemaking magic. And their wines really do showcase the best of the region, from the crisp Fiano to the bold Primitivo.
They really do. Vespa is a great example of how Puglia is making world-class wines. They deserve to be on everyone's radar.
Okay, we've explored the Tuscan hills and the sunny coast of Puglia. Where to next?
Our last stop takes us to the biggest island in the Mediterranean, Sicily.
Sicily. Volcanoes, ancient ruins, delicious food. What's the wine scene like there?
Sicily's a fascinating wine region, tons of history. It's been a melting pot of cultures for centuries, and you can see that in the wines. They have everything from native grapes that have been growing there for thousands of years to international varieties that have found a new home on this sunny island.
It sounds like a place with a lot of different winemaking traditions. And Sicily itself is pretty dramatic, isn't it? Mount Etna, Europe's highest active volcano, right there looming over everything.
It's a land of extremes, and you can taste that in the wines. The volcanic soil around Mount Etna makes wines that are really mineral and intense.
Wines with a real sense of place. What about the grapes? What are the main ones in Sicilian wine?
Well, there's Nero d'Avola, the most widely planted red grape in Sicily. It's known for its dark fruit flavors and strong structure. Then you have Catarratto, the most planted white grape. It makes crisp, refreshing wines, often with a citrusy note.
Powerful reds, crisp whites. What else?
There's Inzolia, another